So are you thinking about moving to Columbus, Ohio, and you're debating which suburb between Dublin or New Albany to live in? Well, on today's episode, we're going to be doing some comparing, some contrasting, talking about the pros and cons of each of these incredibly popular suburbs. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll be able to make a decision of which one is best for you, you and your family, or somebody that you may know. So let's dive in. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Brad Winter, and if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. We're gonna dive right into it shortly, but before we do that, if you guys could please tap on that subscribe button, click on the bell, give us a like, drop a comment below about what you think about living in Columbus and all the things that we always talk about on here. I would really appreciate that because we want to let everybody know when we drop a new video about what it's like to live in the Columbus metro or surrounding areas. And also, I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Ohio. I would love to help you with your real estate needs. So if you're thinking about moving, if you're already relocating, if you already live here, pick up the phone, give me a call, shoot me a text, fire off an email, find me on Instagram, find me on LinkedIn, whatever you need to do, make sure you do it because I'm going to have your back when it comes to all things real estate related in our incredible city and the surrounding areas. So let's jump into it right now. We're going to duke it out between New Albany and Dublin. So one of the biggest things that people always ask me when they're relocating here, or clients of mine that are here and maybe, they don't know about certain areas, they always talk about like, what's the housing market like? What's home prices? How much am I going to get, for my money? They ask all these different things. So when we're comparing what it's like to live in Dublin versus New Albany, the housing market should play an important, it should be an important factor that we talk about. So I wrote down some notes here. Right now, currently in 2023, this is, we're all the way almost through February. For Dublin, a 4-bed, 2.5 bath home, right over 2,800 square feet is gonna run you right around $583,000. So put that in perspective. If you're somebody that fits your budget, great. If it doesn't fit your budget, that does not mean that you can't find something less. This is a median home sale price. You can find homes that are less than $583,000. But I want to paint a picture about kind of what you are up against when it comes to housing in Dublin. If we just take the quick 25 minute drive around 270 to New Albany for a median home price of $634,000, you are going to get a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath home right around 3,300 square feet. So again, this is what you can expect for living in New Albany as far as the housing market is concerned so far in 2023. In my opinion, the home prices in New Albany are going to keep going up rapidly. Dublin, they're going to keep going up because Dublin's a very popular place to live. But see, what's going on in New Albany is a little thing called Engel is building their chip manufacturing facility, and New Albany is getting a huge influx of buyers. There's no houses on the market though, but we're getting tons of buyers, so there's creating a lot of competition. So another thing about New Albany is you can see here that yes, for $50,000 more, you're gonna get one more bathroom on average, and what's that, 500-ish square feet more of a home than you would in Dublin. So, depending on how you look at it, you could say you're getting more bang for your buck. It all depends on what you're looking for. But either way, if we're just breaking down both places, you are going to be paying on the higher end of what our market has to offer as far as housing is concerned in both of these suburbs. Now, you got to think, if you're moving from LA or California in general, Texas, Florida, parts of Florida, maybe New York, Chicago, these are all places that a lot of people are moving from. These home prices, they might not be that daunting to you. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility on what you may be able to find and get into. If you're somebody that this hits their top of the budget, don't be afraid to still look in these areas. You will find something. It's just going to be a little bit tougher. So number one on the list, housing market, New Albany, first Dublin. Bottom line is, it's expensive to live there. So if you can afford it, great. If not, we might have to look other places besides these two. Again, you can still find places under the median prices of these places, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Another question that always comes up is, what is the job market like in Columbus? Now, we talk about this on a lot of our episodes. We have a ton of healthcare facilities when it comes to jobs. Healthcare is a major employer here in Central Ohio. We've got Ohio State and Ohio Health and a ton of other systems. So we have that. We have manufacturing. We've got fashion. We've got tech. We got all these things. So I've talked about it on other episodes. Go check it out if you haven't seen it, or I can drop the link if you comment below on wanting to see those episodes. But let's kind of talk about, what Dublin and New Albany has to offer as far as maybe headquarters of companies, and then maybe what's going on in the future. So in Dublin, you've got several major corporate headquarters. I mean, you have Cardinal Health. This is one of the largest, if not the largest. I'm not quite sure if the largest is an accurate statement. So let's take it back. We'll say it's in the realm of one of the largest medical distribution service provider companies in the world. So this place is huge and it employs a ton of people. So if you're somebody that maybe is relocating for a job that has to do with Cardinal Health, you might want to live in Dublin because it's so close. The commute will be less than 15 minutes, more than likely. So that might be good. You've got Wendy's headquarters, right? Most people don't know that Wendy's headquarters is located in Dublin. So those are some really, really big corporations when it comes to employers here in the Dublin area. Now, you have New Albany, which if you guys have watched Netflix on a gentleman by the name of Lex Wessner and the things that he's created, with limited brands and Victoria's Secret and all those things, that New Albany is headquarters, got Abercrombie & Fitch. You've got Bob Evans, which most people don't know, which is pretty cool. You've got Discover Financial Services, right? These are major, major employers in New Albany. Here's another thing. You've got Intel. Again, I just said it in the housing market. You have Intel that is coming, right? And that's going to be a part of the New Albany community. I'm helping a half a dozen people right now relocate from other parts of the country for Intel. This is not going away. This is only going to get crazier. And so that is going to be a big employer in the New Albany market, bottom line. The cool thing about both these places is we have a thriving entrepreneurial community. If you just look at like Old Dublin and the little town square that New Albany has to offer, you'll see a ton of mom and pop shop, family owned businesses are everywhere in both suburbs. So I think that is really cool. If you're really looking at just some of the major employers, and it's a coin flip on who's winning that battle between Dublin and New Albany. But either way, if you're somebody who wants to be close to their employer and that's going to determine where you live, there's some really great opportunities to live in Dublin and New Albany and be able to be employed by some of these massive, massive companies. So third on our list, duking it out between New Albany and Dublin, we're going to talk about the community. So firsthand experience, I've got clients that live in both. So I can kind of rely on them of what they feel. And I always ask them so I can use, what these people are saying for these videos. And the cool thing is I think both Dublin and New Albany feel that they have a strong sense of community and just an overall really great quality of life. If you drive in either one of these towns, right, or suburbs, whatever you want to call them, they're super clean. Everything is manicured really nice with the landscaping, and the roads are in good shape, and everything is very particular in both of these communities, which I think is really, really cool. It creates a very welcoming sense of community. People feel safe. People enjoy the fact that both of these cities really take care of everything. So I think that creates a strong sense of community, which people tend to really love. Another thing is both these places have a ton of parks. They've got nature preserves. They've got recreational facilities all over the place. So, if you live in Dublin, you've got all sorts of resources when it comes to parks and trails. I think it's over 50 miles of walking paths through the whole city of Dublin, which is pretty cool. You've got some major metro parks up there. You've got facilities that have more soccer fields than you could imagine, right? You have baseball fields and all those good things that people love to enjoy, especially if you have kids. You want kids to have access to these things. The same thing with New Albany, right? You've got all sorts of parks and nature preserves, again, that people like to go explore. And one thing too is you got to think about like the different festivals. I was at the New Albany 4th of July, we'll call it a festival or celebration, and this place was packed. I mean, New Albany's not that big, and thousands of people were there, and the parade was first class. So again, when you think about community, that's pretty cool that they celebrate a holiday like that, and a very important one. And they really take a lot of pride in it. Now, Dublin, I've been to the Dublin Irish Festival a ton of times, and it is a blast. They really take pride in putting together the Dublin Irish Festival. It's always, we'll call it a fan favorite, right? I mean, people drive from all over to go to this thing, and it's just another thing that brings the community together. I know New Albany has what they call the New Albany Classic. That's an annual horse show that raises funds for the community. That's a really big deal for New Albany. So again, there's a lot of different events that go on in both areas that really people love to immerse themselves in, and they have friends and colleagues, and they all create a wonderful place to live. And I think that's one big reason too why people love to live in both of these places. They probably feel at home, and they feel safe, and they've met a lot of great friends because their neighbors are nice, and all the good things that people look for. I think both of these places have it. So last but not least, let's talk about the schools. So this is something, again, that everybody is always concerned about if they have kids. It's one of the biggest questions that I always get are, hey, what are the best school districts? And I'm not going to tell you like what the best is, because there's no actual data, I guess, or it's all subjective in my opinion, right? Everybody has their opinion. Now, if you get on niche.com, niche.com, there are going to be rankings, but those rankings, they can vary from site to site, but niche.com seems to be a fan favorite for a lot of people. And you're going to see that New Albany and Dublin school districts are top notch. A couple of the schools are going to be in the top 5. They're going to be highly rated in the state, highly rated in the country as well. Doesn't feel like you're going to be able to go wrong. They have a lot of academic programs that are excellent, and their extracurricular activities seem to be really off the charts. And I've heard that from not only past clients, but friends and family that live in both these areas. That's something that they always really talk about, what I think is really, really cool. So if you are not from here, or you are from here and you're thinking about having kids, or you want to put your kids in a different school system, check out Dublin and New Albany. Do some comparing, some contrasting, ask around, call, do some research, because it really looks like that you're going to be in good hands. It doesn't matter which one you really pick, which I think is really cool. So there you have it. Schools coming in at number 4 when you're comparing New Albany versus Dublin. All right, so in conclusion, both Dublin and New Albany are going to offer a high quality of life, a strong sense of community. You're going to have great schools. The job market seems to be pretty strong with a lot of major companies in both areas, and the housing market, you probably can't go wrong as far as your return on your investment. This is totally up to you. You're going to make the best decision for yourself. But if you want to compare New Albany versus Dublin, which one's going to come out on top? Well, you're going to have to decide that on your own. Hey, I really appreciate you tuning in today. This is Living in Columbus, Ohio. If you're thinking about moving, relocating, if you already live here and you need help with something related to real estate, give me a call, shoot me a text, fire off an email, whatever you got to do, make sure you do it, because I'm going to have your back when it comes to all things real estate related here in the Columbus metro and surrounding areas. And thank you for tuning in for today's episode, and I will catch you guys on the next one.